Alright, so I bought a Jimenez Arms JA9 9mm. This is the first time I'm going to shoot it. It hasn't been sighted in. It's not very accurate probably. Let's find out. And I'm empty. It does have a lock back after you're finished shooting it. That was 11 rounds if you're counting. However, the magazines are only 10 round magazines, which it is clear and safe. It's snowing, so I'm only going to put a couple more rounds through it out here. I have one more 10 round magazine. Going to be another 10 shots. The groups aren't very good on the target. I don't believe you can see it from this distance, but that group is like 2 feet wide. Let's get a little closer. Carry this tripod on this camera. The group's not good. I didn't miss the target. There's 11 shots on target. I got a decent group in the center there, but it's pretty wide. It is a good defensive handgun, and that's what I bought it for, a little cheap throwaway Saturday night special. And that was probably at 20 yards. So let's get a little closer this time. It does lock back with the safety, which I do not like. Whenever you chamber around, you take the safety off and chamber it like you're supposed to. If you slam it forward, it's been known to have failure to feeds. So let's do 10 more rounds before I end my video here. And I'm empty. That's a dirty ammunition that I'm shooting through this weapon. It's empty and it's clear. Always practice gun safety. That's it for me here out in the back country with my Jimenez Arms JA9. Alright everybody, welcome home. This is more or less my little range kit. It's a fire chest from Walmart there. Basically, I can shut it and lock it. That's why I bought it. It does have a key right there. It's a Century Safe 1000 model. It stays locked. I'll transport my weapon in my car like that until I get my gun permit. I can carry it on my side. I'm a security officer. It's my profession, one of them. This here is for carry a flashlight around in, and I use a stream light. This here is a handcuff case, Asp tactical handcuffs. Not the only pair I own. I own some hinged Smith & Wesson handcuffs also. Those are uncomfortable. They're not made for comfort, they're made for security, but I still like, since I'm just a security officer, just make the person more comfortable, you get less complaints. This here is a MK3 First Defense pepper spray. It might be getting close to expired actually. I haven't checked it in a long time. I like test spraying it periodically over so many days or whatever, over once a month at least. Make sure that everything in it stays mixed up and ready to go. Spent magazine from the gun I shot today. It is a 10 round magazine's well built. I don't know how well you can see in my lights here, but it's a decent little gun or little magazine. I'm getting dirt on my fingers from touching it, from firing rounds out of it today. So I'll clean it later. That'll be off video. This is my cleaner. I do not, or I can't say I don't personally like aerosol cleaners, but I use the cleaner. It's a Winchester gun wash synthetic cleaner. I got it for 10 bucks even. It's marked at $10.99 from the Deal Brothers pawn shop. It's good to spray onto your cleaner, your brushes. Little brush here. I'll spray this onto this brush. I don't know if you can see that brush. It's a 9mm copper brush, but I'll spray it on there and run through the bore a couple times, or through the barrel. Then from the handy dandy Rural King, some Remington Moisture Guard Rust Prevention Remington oil, some gun oil. It's got Teflon in it. There's a brand I love called Triflon, and that Triflon was probably the best gun oil I've ever heard or ever seen ever. And definitely like to see it come back into production. I don't think they make it anymore anywhere. Some hearing protection, which is necessary. I got some pink in there. I was spending the day with my ex-girlfriend the other day before she's got to go down to Florida. Make sure she's not got anything seriously wrong with her medically. Down at the Mayo Clinic. So I was being there as a friend for her, and she talked me into buying pink earplugs there. And then I got this holster with the gun for $20. It is a brand name holster. I don't know how well you're going to be able to see this. I don't pronounce it right. It's Bianchi, something. B-I-A-N-C-H-I. I love these holsters. It's got a snap on the holster that snaps together, so when you draw from the holster, you hit this lip here with your thumb, which unsnaps it when you push it towards your body. It's got a lever here. I don't know if you can see that very well, but there's a lever right there that is a trigger lock for your gun. When your gun is in there, even if it's unsnapped, which you can visibly see it's unsnapped, you cannot pull the gun out of it without depressing that lever. Or, since this holster is not made for this weapon, I can lean it very far forward in the holster. Let's flip it around. I can lean it forward in the holster and it will come out. But if someone's behind you trying to pull that weapon out of your holster, they're not going to be able to. They'll pick you up before they can pull the weapon out. You push that lever and it comes straight out. I did have to alter it a little bit. There's a little spot right here, if you can't see behind my nail, it's rounded. I dremeled it out because it was hitting my magazine release. But that's all I've done to this holster, except I screwed it up and caught the leather with the Dremel. So now I got to get some black shoe polish for that. The gun came with a trigger lock, which I have. I do not use because I keep it holstered. But if I stored it out of the holster, I would. Which is just a standard trigger lock. Everybody knows how to use one. Like I said, I got 2 boxes of rounds. I got 59mm rounds for the weapon, which I'll reload the magazines in this video or the next video, because I'm going to separate them and combine them all so it's easier to upload on YouTube. And then your push rod for your cleaning tips from Walmart. Cost me $17, which is next to nothing. It came with every kind of caliber you can think of. Basically that's it for my range box. So next is cleaning. Alright, time for cleaning. The Jimenez arms, JA9. There's your safety here. You have to have it on fire. If it's unsafe, your slide does not function. It will not go back. Place it on fire, pull your slide back, engage your safety. That's your slide lock back. If you can see, there's no round in it. It's not chambered. Weapon is safe. To disassemble this weapon and clean it, there's a button on the rear right here behind the safety. Your safety's here. There's a button right here. You pull your slide back. You depress this button and you lift. And then you slide it forward. It all comes apart. Just like that. You have this piece here. Fixed barrel. A very dirty gun right now from firing it. I did not have problems firing this weapon. I did clean the weapon before I fired it. There's your bottom receiver part. The only parts that come apart, there's your spring. I don't know if you can see that. Your spring comes out. This is what I was trying to figure out what to call this thing. And I guess it's your guide rod in a sense. slides over your barrel when your spring's on your weapon in the front there. Acts as a guide rod. There is no guide rod on this weapon. And then you have your slide, which it comes in all kinds of different formats. This is silver, of course. If you're not colorblind, you can tell, with the black frame. And you can have a silver frame, which is all metal except for the hand grip here. It's all metal. You can have silver frame and black slide, silver slide, silver frame, black slide, or a combination, however I didn't say it. Okay, to clean it, it is disassembled and apart. I got a cheap little rag that I like to use. I always start with my slide because that's the first thing I put back on. I just look in there, make sure there's not a whole lot, and the barrel's kind of got some gunpowder residue to wipe off there. Get this rag down in this hole here and kind of get all this debris off, which you're not going to be able to see a whole lot. I only put 21 rounds through it. Still pretty dirty ammunition. It's hard to find ammunition right now. I had to go to a gun store called Strictly Shooting in Evansville and purchase my ammunition. Bought range time, which cost me $15 extra just for this ammunition, which isn't terrible, I guess, considering the shortage that everybody's having, and considering that nowhere has ammo right now. I take this sprayer. I'm going to spray the inside of this and let it soak for a second. The only reason I'm doing that is because there's a little smudge in there I can't get to. But I do not like aerosol cleaners. I'd rather spray my tips and clean the weapon that way. I think it's more effective. But I'm doing this over the floor so I don't spray the couch because, like I said, I don't have a cleaning bench, and I'm getting one shortly. But spray this piece up real good. Let it soak on the paper towel on the couch. Let all the extra run off in the floor because the floor doesn't matter as much as the couch does. I got paper towels down everywhere anyway, so I'm not making a mess, honestly. The spring, I'll do the same thing. I'll spray it and let it set and soak. That way it gets some clean to it too. Now for the barrel piece. First thing I'm going to do is get my guide right here with the brass cleaner and put on there. Hopefully these videos will improve over time. I'm going to spray that Winchester gun wash cleaner on the tip that I just attached to the thing, make it soak pretty well on there. Don't give it time to run off. Run through this barrel just like this. And I can see the dirt coming off as it is. It is very dirty ammo. Do that a few times. And that's all good for the barrel, I believe. And I'll get it a little better. I'm just giving you a quick summary of what I do to clean my weapon. This little mop thing here. I don't know what it's called. Like I said, I'm a first time gun owner. So I'm making up my own everything. I leave it dry, run through there, pick up any debris that's breaking loose. Of the big stuff, give it about 4 or 5 times through. I believe that's good. Action the safety a couple times. If there's any debris in it, it'll come out when the slide release, or when the slide's off. That way it'll fall out instead of being held in by that slide. I'm going to spray the barrel itself with the gun cleaner and let it run down into it. It comes with one of those little WD-40 straws, I like to call them. I'm going to spray through the barrel and get it soaked pretty good and let it soak a little bit there. Spray down the mag feed a little bit, not too much. You don't need a whole lot, just where it's dirty. We're going to wipe it all off and lubricate it anyway, so it's not like it matters too much, honestly. Let that soak for a little bit and break into some of that dirt and grime. And I'll continue the video here in a minute. Alright, I believe that's soaked long enough. It's been about 10 minutes. Me setting it there just kind of soaking in and air drying for the most part. I didn't even need that long, honestly. I like to be kind of thorough, even though it's a cheap throwaway gun. I'm gonna run that brass piece back through here, this bore brush, a couple times. Make sure everything's coming out that needs to come out and staying in that needs to stay in, though. And kind of look through the bore, make sure you don't see anything. One thing about the Jimenez Arms gun here that's kind of weird, honestly, in my opinion, is the rifling on it. I barely can see any rifling on this barrel at all. It looks like someone went in there with a black magic marker and drew the rifling on. It is not cut deep grooves. It is not, you know, like a Glock pistol. I'm not thinking you're going to be able to see it. This is a very cheap camera. Yeah, you can't tell, but there's no rifling grooves cut into there. It's barely noticeable, barely visible. You can kind of see it a little bit, maybe. I'm not sure if you can or not, but trust me when I say that it's not in there. You can look up on any review video, and I've heard them say the same thing. While I have it apart, this piece here is the piece that holds your slide on. You can see that you have to depress it to get it off. Whenever you put it back on, you also have to depress it to slide it back on. It sits in there pretty well. It's not that loose. When the slide's on, it holds itself together. I'm assuming you can disassemble it further in this if you really wanted to. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time. Mag feed area, whatever you call it, I'm not completely sure. This part here, it's kind of got some smears and smudges down there. I'm going to run my rag through that, which I'm doing it off camera because it's easier for me. I'm sitting in a weird area. But it's not dirt really. I think it's the cleaner that dried and just dried funny. Made smudges on it. I'm going to fix that up. Because if there's a smudge, that means something can stick to that area of your weapon. And if it sticks to the area of that weapon, then, well, it'll get dirt there build up pretty quickly. Especially if you're shooting rounds like me. Rounds that are dedicated for range. They're not made to be powerful. They're not made to stop somebody. They're not made for hunting. They're made to shoot at paper. It's still a bullet. It's still coming out of a barrel. I still can't see it flying through the air with my naked eye. So I'm still thinking it's going to hurt you if it hits you. And it will stop you if there's enough of them. So that's clean there. Like I said, I like their magazine setup. You can see it in there together. Mag release button on the handle drops out. Everything works well. Functions on this piece. The only thing I got left to do is lubricate that. For this, you take your rag and just wipe out all the dirt and debris you can see. Firing pins in here. Make sure the dirt's away from it and you're cleaning. All those pieces that are visibly dirty, all from the gunpowder residue, whatever rounds you're using. Shooting through your weapon if you own a Jimenez Arms JA9 or any other weapon. It's good to keep them clean and know how to clean them. I kind of had to teach myself how to clean it, looking up review videos myself, different people, different things I liked about how they clean their weapon. So that's what I'm doing. One thing about the Jimenez Arms is you can tell that it's made by a machine. There's a whole lot of tool marks on it. It's put together very quickly. Like I said, it's a cheap Saturday night special. You can't see on this video very well, but there's tool marks in here. I don't have a good light for it. But there's tool markings here that I don't like. It's kind of pitted. It's a brand new gun. First time I ever shot it was today. You can see pitting on this every once in a while. This one doesn't look terrible like the other ones I was looking at. On the inside, however, it looks like it's been nicked right here. It's not smooth at all. It's not supposed to be rounded over like that. It looks bad right here. I mean, it's rough textured. It's supposed to be smooth like the other side. They're almost mirror images of each other. And it looks like they had a dull saw blade going in there trying to cut a piece of wood or something with it. It's very pitted, but at least it's clean now. It does have an adjustable rear sight with a little screw that adjusts it, which I'll have to do next time I go to a proper range and I'm not getting snowed on. The spring has been soaking. Take your rag and just wipe your spring down. Make sure there's no debris that's going to stop it from working as a spring. It's just a piece of metal curled up that functions. There ain't nothing else on this to do. This piece, your guide rod, a little bitty thing, spray it or wipe it down with your rag. I like to lubricate everything I think is going to touch metal, move, function in any way where it's going to have friction on it. I'm going to spray this gun lubricant over the floor again onto that guide rod or whatever you decide you want to call it, so it will be lubricated very well, which it is. Same thing for the spring. Springs can rust just like any piece of metal. They'll fail. Keep it nice and lubricated here, which now it is. And then the same with this. I'm going to spray into the firing pin area with the lubricant. 2 sprays there, 2 pumps. Let the excess kind of drip off, and then I'll wipe some of the excess away. I like to keep it very lubricated though. I don't like a dry gun, especially a cheap one. The more lubricant on them, the better they're going to function. And I believe that's a pretty wet gun there. I'll wipe the outside of the slide down from the overspray, which there's plenty of overspray. You can take it from me, which helps the metal anyway. It'll lubricate that metal on the outside and kind of help prevent rust since it is steel. Oh, now the fun part, lubricating the inside of your barrel. There's these pieces here that are designed to take a cotton pouch, which came with the kit that I bought. Just a little tucket of paper here. I'm going to pull it through the loop just like you would a sewing needle. You can see that. And I'm going to spray the heck out of this with this gun oil, this lubricant. And it's going down the barrel. So I'm going to attach it on my little guide rod here and run this down my barrel. And I like to stick it in there and spin it. I don't know if you can see me spinning it, but I'm sitting there spinning this rod with the rifling. And then pull it back through and do it a couple times. Make sure you're getting everything nice and lubricated. Spray down where your safety and your trigger works. Spray all that with the lubricant just to spray in here, down the side. Let it kind of run down into all the moving parts. After I do that, I function my safety. Make sure it's getting lubricated down in there, which it's starting to get broken in. That safety was super stiff. It was hard to push. I had to use my free hand to push the safety down a lot of the times. Now it's getting a little easier, which isn't a bad thing. For me, the safety still functions like it's supposed to. Can't pull the trigger, which I can anyway. This gun has all kinds of safety features, and I have it together before I load the magazines. I'll show you a lot of them safety features, which I like. That looks like it's lubricated nice and good. I'll wipe off where the slides down the side of the barrel. Give it a little lubricant on this, on both sides. Top of the barrel, wipe. Just enough lubricant on there to make it slide down well. I believe this gun is clean and lubricated properly right now. However, I like to take a clean pouch after the lubricant soaked through the barrel and run through there and get all the little extra debris off of that. Like I said, there's not a lot of rifling. Excuse me, I've been fighting a cold, but there's not a lot of rifling, so there's not a whole lot for it to have to do. I'm not going to turn this as much. A half a turn through and a half a turn back. And as you can see, there's not a whole lot of dirt and grime on that pouch. I believe that this is a clean weapon. It looks lubricated properly. There's a feed part right here in the barrel where the round chambers itself. I like to take a paper towel and wipe right there. Make sure there's no debris going to stop the round. You can even use your rag if you wanted to. But it's clean, it's good. Everything looks lubricated, what's supposed to be lubricated. I'm going to reassemble this weapon in the next video. Okay, it's time for reassembly. It's kind of tricky, believe it or not, as simple as a weapon as it is. Since it's a fixed barrel, it's kind of weird. Place your spring on your guide, and there's a little hole back in here your spring sits down in. I seen some guy on a video for one of these weapons, he pushed his spring down, slid it on his barrel, and it stayed. Mine does not do that. So I keep it in my weapon like this. Take my slide, and there's an indentation on the slide where this fits into the little guide. And it'll line your barrel and everything up like it's supposed to. Right there. You just push it forward. Try getting that barrel lined up. See, I'm probably making myself look like a fool because there might be an easier way to do this. But it's in there now. Push it forward. Make sure you depress this pin down here on the back. Pull your slide back all the way. Drop it down. Release your pin. Slide it forward. And you function. I like to cycle through if I don't knock my camera over. Cycle through a few times. Get that lubricant. Spread around. As you can see, it is still an empty weapon. There's no rounds in there. It's empty and cleared. Safety is off. Magazine's empty. Here, I don't know, this is probably a bad thing to do. I load it, I function it back. Lock back still functions. When you drop it forward, in my video before I was talking about slamming it forward to chamber round. That's when you just take your safety off and it slams forward like that. It's been known to misfeed and not feed properly. The safety features of this gun, as you can see on the back, there's a bright orange dot. It's a little dirty bright orange dot right there that pops out. Whenever you fire this weapon, that dot will go away. I'm going to dry fire this weapon once. Oh, I gotta drop the mag out because it has that lock. There we go. I'll dry fire the weapon. It goes away. It means it is not cocked. On the top, this circle here, when you chamber around, you got to take it as advice from me. I'm not going to do it. It pops up and isn't flush with the weapon any longer, letting you know that there's a live round in that gun. You can see down the sights. The sights I like a lot. They're like Glocks. They got the white outline like a Glock handgun has. The front sight down there is a bright orange, easy to see. I like shooting this weapon. It fits me comfortably. I have large hands, but it fits in my hand comfortably. It has a little lip here that fits my pinky, which doesn't happen a lot on a lot of handguns, even large frame handguns. And that's your Jimenez arms. It is assembled and it's ready to go again. All you got to do is load the magazine and you're good to go. And since I cleaned it, there's a lot of oil and stuff on the exterior of the gun. I like wiping it down with the rag, making it look nice and new still. I'm kind of thinking about getting etching done on the slide, my name or something on it somewheres, just to have a little personalization on it, but there's not a lot of personalization other than the color choices for this gun. Parts are hard to come by in stores, but the book that comes with the weapon has all the parts listed that are in this gun. You can order them from the company. You give them a call and the order's fine. I've never had any complaints or heard any complaints about the Jimenez company and their customer service, except for people that just decided to rag on the gun because it wasn't a Glock or it wasn't a Walther or it wasn't a Smith & Wesson. The magazine functions very well. It's easy to load. Bullet goes in just like it should. You push the thing down, slide your bullet back, and it's ready to go. And while I have one in the magazine, I'll show you the weapon. It's a hot gun. You can see here, safety's off. I'm going to chamber around. Chambered. You can see that button popped up. It's hard to see in the video, but that little button there is popped up. Alright, drop my magazine out. Remove this round. It is clear. It's a clear weapon. Alright, loading the magazine I just showed you. Pretty simple. Everything else I think I pretty much showed you with this weapon. The holster I showed you. Just got to get the videos up there on YouTube. And like I said before, I'm a firm believer in gun safety. Just remember, gun safety depends on you. And this is Cody, and I hope you enjoyed my videos.